Hey, Star,
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm a lady.
Yeah.
Is that how we're starting the podcast?
That's how we're starting the podcast.
Okay, cool beans. So, hello, wonderful listeners. This is Idol Days, the show about idol animes. I am Star.
And I am Sarah.
Wow, and together we are cool kids. So, what show are we talking about today, Sarah?
We're talking about the Idolmaster anime.
Whoa, which one?
The original Idolmaster anime, 2014.
Wait,
no, my gosh, 2011.
2011.
We're talking about Idolmaster 2011.
Wow, it's our first episode.
Yep.
We're doing a thing. So, yeah, I know that this was my gateway into idol anime. Was it yours also?
Yeah, I would consider it that gateway to idols, except for, of course, some idol-adjacent shows that we might talk about in future episodes.
Oh, that was a sneaky hint, I see.
I know, sneaky hint.
Yes, so Idolmaster is a show, like most of the ones we'll be talking about on this podcast, where there's a bunch of characters, and they all want to be idols, and then that's the plot. Okay, but yes, so, talking about Idolmaster. So, brief history of this franchise. If anyone here has not heard of Idolmaster, Idolmaster is as a franchise, it's 15 years old. I believe this year is actually the 15th anniversary. It started as a series of arcade games in Japan, and you had this little card. It was like a memory card, but you took it with you to the arcade, plugged it in, and it saved all your data on it. So it wasn't like a claw machine where you put your money in and it spits out cheap prizes and stuff. It's a GameCube, but you gotta go to the place to use it, and you have a big screen.
Big ol' screen. And it was
big
a rhythm
arcade
game.
Screen.
Or is.
Yeah, it's kind of like a rhythm game with plot, and depending how good you do at the plot, you're better at the rhythm game.
Exactly.
You get higher score.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it eventually moved on to home consoles. There's a bunch of different spin-offs, a bunch of different games. And then in 2011, they finally made an anime of it, which is conveniently the one we're talking about today.
Idolmaster 2011.
2011. Yes, we call it that because the anime is just called The Idolmaster, but there's there's a lot of other Idolmaster anime that came out after this. So we are specifically talking about the first one.
The first one. And if any of you are interested in watching and are US based, it's available on Crunchyroll. Legally.
It is. Crunch that roll.
We are not roll.
Paid. It's just Sarah has an account and she lets me mooch off of it.
Yes,
and that's how we watch it.
And we always are a fan of the non-pirating ways to watch anime. Support the industry.
You wouldn't download an anime. Okay, so
So where were you in 2011 when we started watching Idolmaster, Starla?
You know exactly where I was because we lived together.
And they were roommates.
Well, oh my god, they were roommates. Yes, Sarah and I were roommates for most of college, and she actually introduced me to this show. Because she showed me a snippet from the last episode where there's a concert in the last episode, and she's like, Star, look, they did all this animation with this crazy moving camera stuff and they didn't use 3D for any of it. And I was like, wow.
And also notably, we were both animation students, so
yes, that's important.
Huge animation nerds. Yep.
That's why we're geeking. It's okay, you can tell that they used 3D for the backgrounds. And they definitely rotoscoped it, which is drawing over to 3D animation. But it still looks real freaking good.
It still looks really good. And rotoscoping, even though it's drawing over animation, is still a heck ton of work.
It is. I think have you ever done it before? Because I've done it for work.
Yes, also for work, and it's a pain. It takes up so much time. It's a lot of money, which, as we'll probably go into in future episodes, the anime industry doesn't usually have a lot of money to rotoscope 2D.
Nope, which is why they just use 3D.
Yes.
Not something we're going to talk about with this show too much because, surprise, there's actually not really any 3D in this show.
No,
aside from cars and props that are missable if you're not paying attention to them.
It all blends in really well artistically. I believe this was done by A1 Pictures.
It is. But yes, so we are going to kind of just break down the series, talk about what's good, talk about best girls, and just kind of like do a blow-by-blow of what happens during the series. So actually, that was another thing. Sarah, I have a question for you.
Yes, Starla.
Would you consider this show slice of life?
Heck yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because I know that, okay, because like, I've been thinking about this a lot. And I feel like the big thing the difference between a slice of life show and a narrative driven show, I think is like goals. And so like, I haven't watched as many slice of life shows as you have. You're kind of the SOL champion.
Oh yes, slice of life is my genre.
It is not mine. But I think the weird thing about idol shows is typically like the characters have goals, but they all share the same goal, which is I want to be an idol. And so I feel like this show, there's some episodes I think that would qualify as slice of life, but there's others that are more driven by plot.
I would disagree necessarily with that definition of slice of life, actually, because a lot that are known as slice of life, like K-On! Is, Sakura Quest is, they all are very goal driven. I think slice of life is more that, from what I understand, it's a lot more everyday character focused. So as opposed to going on large adventures or there being a super like dramatic or horror based element, it's kind of normal people doing normal things without a supernatural or very dramatic enemy.
Yeah, that's fair. I was just kind of thinking about it because like when you think about like compelling story and a compelling character, you think about what goals the characters have. And so I think like shows like this are interesting because the characters have goals and there is a plot that is moving forward, but it's not always like the forefront of every single episode.
Exactly.
And so I remember a friend of ours asking if they should watch this show a while back, and I'm like, well, do you like slice of life? And she said, is it slice of life? And I couldn't answer that because it doesn't feel like a slice of life show to me.
You just have to open your eyes to the slice of life world, Star.
Slice of life is so easy to be boring, though.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I like the big adventure shows.
It's a great,
Sarah
big, beautiful world.
Sarah and I have very different focuses when it comes to shows we like.
Absolutely. My favorites are slice of life and cute girls doing cute things.
I like adventure and sadness. Okay, so I think we should go ahead and get into it. So, Idolmaster, first episode. I think rather than go through every single thing blow by blow, we can just kind of talk about what characters we meet in this episode. I think
that's a great idea.
The first episode is really just like, it's fully a character piece. It's intending to introduce you to the characters, and it kind of bounces between them. And also, the whole thing is set up like a mock interview documentary.
Very cute.
And so, yeah, so the idea is that there's someone behind the camera, and you see their questions as like subtitles on the screen, and then the girls are like talking to someone, and we don't hear their voice, we just see the questions on the bottom. And so it's like a day in the life of the idols of, what do we want to call them? Because in English, their talent agency is 765, but in Japanese, it's Namco, which is like Japanese letter talking. Do we just want to call it Namco Pro?
Because we'll call it Namco Pro.
That's faster to say. Yeah, so we're going to call it Namco because that's how they say it in Japanese, but it's 765 Productions is how it's written. Like the number 765.
765.
Yeah. Yes, so there are 13 main characters in this show if you only include the idols. There's a couple of side characters, but basically this cast is huge, and that's something that happens with a lot of idol shows because you gotta get all the types of the cute girls in there.
Every single type for every single type of producer.
Every single type, and we start in episode 1 with the one who's kind of bland.
Aww.
I mean, listen, she's adorable.
She's a good girl.
But she doesn't have a lot going for her.
She has good girl going for her.
She has good girl energy and not a lot else.
Aww.
So the first character... I'm sorry it's mean, but listen, I'll come back to her, okay?
Okay.
The first character we meet is Haruka. She is kind of your stereotypical leader character. She's got like this brown flippy hair, green eyes. She's always got like 2 ribbons. She's got one on each side of her head, so she's symmetrical.
Very short, early 2000s anime girl hair.
Yeah, like just kind of just brown, flippy bob hair, defying gravity. Flip, flip, flip.
Flip, flip.
Flip, flip. Yes. So her thing is that she wants to be an idol because being an idol is fun.
Yes. And actually, I feel like her character type is something that is repeated a lot for main characters in a lot of different idol anime.
Her character personality is main character.
She has main character type.
She has main character energy, yes. So the next character we meet is the best character.
Starla's best girl.
Listen, I'm biased, and I will shamefully admit that. So next girl we meet is Makoto. She is very much like the tomboy, sporty type. She's got very short black hair, and her thing is she's very masculine. She's very boyish, but she wants to be more feminine, and she kind of complains a little bit that all of her fans are girls, and she's like, well, I don't mind having girls like fawn over me, but I want some guy fans too, because I am a girl, you know. I want to be the princess, but I'm the prince right now. So she's the princely idol. And I love her. The first time we meet her, she's reading a shoujo magazine.
Oh, yes.
And she's like, it's a secret, but I totally like this kind of stuff. And I'm like, I love you so much. But yes, so the next girl we meet is Ritsuko your favorite?
I don't actually have a best girl for the Idol Master. That's a surprise. Yeah, I know. That's a surprise.
Twist. Well, Ritsuko's the one you cosplayed.
Yes, Ritsuko I have cosplayed because she has glasses.
Yes, because she has glasses and you don't like to take your glasses off for cosplay. But yeah, so do you want to talk about Ritsuko?
Oh, Ritsuko, actually, interesting character for the anime is she is an employee of Namco Pro, at least when you meet her. So as she stands, she's another producer inside the office. And so she is organizing and helping out the girls. But you find out some things about her later on.
No, it's not too much later. It's like immediately.
You find out
it's like 30 seconds later.
That's true. You find out she used to be an idol before she joined Namco Pro as a producer. So she has a history of being idol.
Mm-hmm. But she is not an idol currently.
Not an idol currently. And she's kind of more of a adult type character where she's organized. She gets flustered when some of the younger characters start arguing or not following instructions.
She's kind of the strict teacher type.
Exactly.
She's like, stop fighting. Please. It's business time.
Business time only.
And speaking of not business time, the next characters we are introduced to are the twins. Ami Mami. So the two characters are Ami and Mami. They are twins. They have side ponytails. The way you can remember them is Ami has a shorter name and a shorter ponytail. Mami has a longer ponytail and a longer name.
And the ponytails are on different sides of their heads.
Yes. It actually, in like the very first iteration back in the arcade games, their ponytails were the same length. So they were literally just like mirror images of each other.
That's an easy way to have less data in your game.
Sure. But yeah, and so they are the twins. They're kind of like your Genki prankster types. They engage in shenanigans.
Oh yes, always shenanigans. I feel like it's a very typical twin stereotype of anime, sort of stereotype.
Yeah, they're like if Oran, Hikaru, and Kaoru were girls and less like sneaky sexy.
Though at the same time, if Hikaru and Kaoru knew Ami Mami, there would be a lot of chaos. Like a whole lot of chaos.
Oh my god, I just imagined
that would be really scary. That'd be like end of the world.
I don't want to think about it. It's too much chaos.
Too much chaos.
But yeah, so their whole thing is like, they're little pranksters, they're dweebs, they're cute. And their whole thing is like, we like to being an idol is hard, but it's fun if we're together. Yay! Mm-hmm. And then the next one we meet is Yukiho.
Oh, Yukiho. She's the shy one.
She is your stereotypical shy, pure girl.
At the beginning, she is afraid of all men.
All men.
Every dude.
And dogs, we find out later.
Oh, and dogs. Doesn't matter if it's...
Dudes and dogs.
Mm-hmm. It could be a male or female dog, though. All dogs.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So Yukiho has, like, light, short brown hair. Mm-hmm. She's, like, she's just very kind of soft. She wears a lot of white. She's just kind of the baby.
And often she gets paired with Makoto in scenes, which is always a fun juxtaposition with her being...
Yeah, because Makoto's color, they all have image colors, and so Makoto's color is black and Yukiho's color is white, so it's like a color play.
And then Yukiho is very soft and shy and feminine, and Makoto is very sporty and out there and loud and brash. So it's always a fun contrast.
I wouldn't necessarily call her brash. She's not like annoyingly out there. She's just very energetic and kind of tomboyish.
Defends best girl.
Look.
I'm just saying she argues with everybody a little bit.
She gets provoked a lot. Okay. Okay. But yeah, so Yukiho's kind of gimmick is that she's the scaredy cat, and her other thing is like when she gets scared, she tries to dig a hole.
Oh yes.
So
and
that she can hide
a lot
in a
of
hole.
destruction.
Yeah, and so like their office is on the second floor, and she's like, I'm scared, I'm gonna dig a hole, and she tries to dig a hole on the second floor, and they're like, Yukiho, no!
Bad idea, idea.
It's gonna be like that Vine, where the dude falls through the ceiling. Okay, so the next character we get a solid introduction to, everybody's this whole scene at the beginning is like chaos. You're meeting characters left and right. The next one who kind of gets a moment is Miki. Miki, she is one of the main characters in that she gets the most character development.
She's also very popular with the fan base.
Oh yeah, she's kind of a special being because she was not in the original games. She was a character who was added later. Mm-hmm. And so she has that kind of benefit of being kind of a unique character. But her whole thing is she is blonde. She's got titties. Like that. She says, that's not me being creepy. Nope. She says that in her intro. She's like, hi, I'm Miki, and my boobs are really big. I'm going to go back to sleep now.
Yep.
Because like she's sleeping when you meet her. And she wakes up for 2 seconds. Her thing is she's kind of lazy. Mm-hmm. And she wants to be an idol, but she doesn't want to try very hard.
However, later on, you find out...
Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. But yeah, so that's her thing. Next up is Chihaya, who is another of the main characters in that she gets a lot of character development. Mm-hmm. And her thing is she's like probably the most serious one.
Yes.
I would definitely classify her as a kudere, if people know what that anime stereotype is. She's got like blue hair. It's kind of long. Mm-hmm. She's very like kind of stoic. She doesn't really smile much.
And she doesn't goof around as much as some of the other characters.
She very, very rarely goofs around, yeah. Her biggest goof is that she laughs at stupid jokes sometimes.
Oh yes, but quietly laughs. Like turns her head
like,
and
she turns her head and does like the little quiet laugh.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like she also has a lot of screen time with Haruka, so they're often paired together in scenes.
Oh yeah, they're a big ship. Mm-hmm. They're like arguably the main ship.
Yes.
So next is Hibiki.
Hibiki Kanaha.
Yes. Do you want to talk about Hibiki?
Yes, Hibiki is not just a single idol. No, she has a whole crew of animal companions.
Oh,
and
shit.
All of her animal companions are kind of her special trait, is she's the wild character. So she's the one who can, jumps up, climbs up things, has all of these animal companions. She has a little hamster she carries around, Hamzo. Hamzo, and it feels like it doesn't feel like she can talk to the animals. There's definitely a suspension of disbelief throughout the series with the animals Hibiki is friends with.
Listen, she's the animal whisperer.
She's the animal whisperer.
She's the reincarnation of Dr. Dolittle. It's fine.
Oh, it's fine. But yes, in almost all of, except for her actual onstage performances and almost all of her scenes, you also get a little bit of Hamzo playing around too.
Yeah, he's like riding around on her shoulder most of the time.
Yeah, second in command.
But yeah, visually, she's got like the little fang. She's got like the little snaggletooth fang, and she's got a big black ponytail. She's got like the big ponytail.
Big ponytail.
Yeah, and she usually wears shorts. Mm-hmm. She's very like outdoorsy, Genki. Mm-hmm. Oh, and she's also from Okinawa.
Oh, yes.
And so I guess if you understand Japanese, she uses a lot of Okinawa-isms.
Yes.
like she's got a catchphrase. It's apparently like an Okinawa thing, like "Nangurenaisa." I don't know if I said that right, but that's her catchphrase. She says it all the time. Thank you. I did my best, and it was probably not good. I'm sorry everyone had to suffer through me doing that. So next on my list is Takane.
Oh, yes, Moon
What
Princess.
can we say about Takane?
I don't know. It's classified, really.
It's classified, top secret. Takane's appeal is that she's mysterious and we never learn anything about her.
And there's a lot of scenes that suggest she might be an alien.
Yeah, she has she's like heavily associated with the moon. Like she's outside looking at the moon a lot and talking to her family that we never meet. And her thing is kind of like she's from space.
She's definitely
an alien.
Space. She also has long white hair. Long, flowy white hair. Mm-hmm.
Yes, she is the Moon Princess, basically. Mm-hmm. She's very, like kind of fancy, regal. She's very formal in her speech.
And this is only contrasted by the fact that she eats giant bowls of ramen all the time.
Yes, she's a big foodie. And it's in contrast with her mysteriousness, she'll just frickin' down, like, giant bowls of ramen and no one's worried about it. She's great.
Who's next, Star?
Azusa is next.
Ah, the Oni-sama.
One-sama. Yeah, so Azusa is very much the ara-ara type character, if you're familiar with that stereotype. She is actually the oldest member of the cast whose ages are confirmed. We don't know about producer and them.
Yes, I think she's confirmed older than Ritsuko, though, because Ritsuko can't drink.
Ritsuko's 19, Azusa is 21, I think. So Azusa's thing is she really wants to get married.
Oh, yes.
And so she became an idol because she wants to find her true love and get married. Mm-hmm. And so at the beginning of the show, she also has long blue hair, which is, I got her and Chihaya confused for a little bit, but she cuts it off in a couple episodes, and then for the rest of the time, she's got like the short blue bob.
Oh, yes.
It's very cute.
Makes it easier to tell everyone apart, too.
Yes, because I did get them confused a lot when I first watched the show. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so she's cute. She also has a terrible sense of direction, gets lost a lot.
Yes, and that's one of her main gags that you get a lot.
Yeah, and then her charm point she got big titties.
The boobles.
Well, yeah, because that's a joke in the first episode. Oh, yes. She's like, "Oh yeah, Ritsuko told me that if I ever do photo shoots, I should pose like this," and she like shows off her titties.
Yep.
He's like, "Yeah, that's your appeal, isn't it?"
But she'll take care of you.
Yeah, she's your big sister. Mm-hmm. So next I have Iori.
Oh yes, rich girl.
Rich girl, Hime-sama, comes from a rich family, rich brat, carries around her little stuffed rabbit everywhere.
Her bun.
Her bun.
Mm-hmm. But she also has kind of a tsundere almost personality type where she tries to act haughty and standoffish a lot, but you can tell in later episodes or they joke around that she actually really does care. Like she buys characters Christmas presents or birthday presents, or
she's especially close. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's especially close with the other younger characters. Like her and Yayoi are seen together a lot because they're the babies. We haven't introduced Yayoi yet, but she's next. Soon. Oh, Iori's other thing is she's got a big forehead. Oh, yes. She doesn't have bangs. She's got, like, long brown hair and no forehead. Or, no bangs. So you see all of her forehead.
All forehead,
and she gets
no bangs.
All forehead, no bangs. Left bang, no. Left pizza, none beef.
Left pizza, none beef.
No. That's not how that meme goes.
Described everything.
You get the idea. So, yeah, the next character we meet is Yayoi, who, in contrast to Iori, the rich girl, she is the poor girl.
Her whole motivation for becoming an idol is so she can get money to feed her very large family of brothers and sisters.
Yeah, she has 5 siblings.
And you can also tell she has little patchwork clothes. You could tell that she's not as rich as Iori.
Yeah, she talks in this episode about how she does a lot of chores around the office. Mm-hmm. You see her like taking out the trash.
But she's not a sad character. She's happy, and she's happy to do what she does.
She's very cute. She's one of the younger ones. She's very cute, very genki. She's got like bright orange pigtails.
Very curly pigtails.
I will say about her voice kind of grates my ears a little bit.
Aww.
She's got kind of a voice.
I love Yayoi's voice.
She's sweet. I wish her voice was not like that. but to each their own. So those are all of the characters that we meet in this episode. There's a few more, like, people we will see around the office. Like, there's also Kotori. She's not an idol, she's just kind of like an assistant character.
Yes.
And her tie-in is that she was actually, like, the player character's assistant in the game.
Mm-hmm. And she has greenish dark hair and, like, a little mole on her mouth.
Yeah, she's got, like, she wears, like, a little green vest.
Yes.
She kind of gives me Isabelle from Animal Crossing vibes, almost, with her clothes.
I like that.
Just a little bit, and, like, they're also both office assistants,
wow,
and so, you know,
Star.
It fits. I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing. It's fine.
Open my world.
But yeah, so basically they go through this whole episode, and, like, we see them at practice, we see them goofing around at the office. It's basically just an excuse to introduce you to the characters. And then at the end of the episode, you find out it's a twist. The character who was recording the interview is actually, he's the new producer they've hired.
Oh my goodness.
And he's the most generic anime boy ever.
Oh yes, very generic anime boy.
He doesn't even have a name.
Mm-mm.
He is just called Producer-san the entire show.
Later on, he gets called nicknames, but yes.
He gets nicknames later, but he doesn't have, like, an actual name. He is Producer-san. The idea is that in the games, this is the player character.
It's your self-insert right here.
He's your self-insert. He's got, like, short black hair and glasses. He always wears a suit and a little tie.
Don't you want to help all of these cute girls achieve their dreams?
Of course I do. I am Producer-san.
Exactly,
Yay.
me too.
Yes.
Must protect.
But yeah, so now that is where the first episode ends, basically. And I wanted to say something about this first episode. Not sure if it was the best way to start your anime.
There's a whole lot of characters you meet right away, and some of them look really similar.
Yeah. It's like, I think my maximum characters I can remember in a single episode is like 6.
Yes, and this is more than twice as many.
Yeah, this is like, if you include the office assistants and, like, the president who you meet, and he doesn't get a lot of screen time, he's just the president of the company, there's like 16 main characters.
A lot of characters.
And there's gonna be more later.
Even more. But I will say, one thing that I find about the original Idolmaster, as opposed to some other Idol series, is I feel like each girl does get her own screen time, and you really do get to connect to them, which is nice.
It's nice. It's just a hard start to a show.
Start.
I think the thing about this episode is that when they made this anime, they were very obviously catering it to people who were already familiar with the characters. So if you're already familiar with the franchise, like you played the games, you're familiar with these characters, this is a perfect way to start an anime because you already know these characters and you get to see them animated for the first time. Wow.
Ooh.
But, like, for me, when you recommended this show to me, I watched the first episode, and then I didn't watch anything else.
A shame, Star.
For like 6 months.
6 months where you weren't in idle hell.
I know, right? Oh, those Twilight years.
Those Twilight years.
Before I fell into the hell pit. But yeah, so it's like it's kind of a pill you gotta swallow. Get introduced to all these girls. You'll get to know them better later on. The show is very good about, like, kind of introducing things about the characters, and everybody gets a little bit of screen time in every episode for the most part. So,
and actually every girl does get her own at least single centric episode. Some girls, as mentioned, have multiple episodes about them, but because
they have drama later. But yeah, so that's kind of like your girl's introduction. And I feel like we should do our best to, like, remind people who we're talking about in case people haven't seen the show.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
We'll come up with nicknames as we go along.
Yeah, I figure we can just name them after their anime trait.
Yes, I think that makes sense.
Just to remind you who we're talking about, because again, it's a big cast. So, second episode is photo shoot episode.
Why do all these girls need photos? Their old photos look so good.
Their old photos are so bad.
So bad.
So the caveat of this episode is that they've got all these idols, they've got this new producer, they can't find any work, and they figure out it's because they took promo photos and they're really bad.
And quick interjection here, another big difference between the Idolmaster 2011 and many other idol shows is all of the idols are actually professional idols. So they're all at this production agency, which is supposed to be an actual business, and they're all there as professionals who were hired or contracted to work for this business. So they're not—
That's a good point.
They're not in a school, or they're not part of some sort of magical girl thing who also does idol parts. They actually deliberately are trying to be idols so they can become idols.
There's no, like, we gotta recruit people episodes.
No.
They're here.
They're here. And they also have their own studio that does most of the writing and the song making and the production side of things.
Yeah.
So you don't get as much of that.
Yeah, a lot of the show takes place, like, in their office. So it's like, they are professionals. This is work for them. This is a job. This is not like, we want to be idols and we're going to work our hardest to become real idols. They're already real idols. Nobody knows who they are yet.
Yeah, they just have to get some stuff on the schedule.
Yeah. But yes, right now they can't get stuff on the schedule because all of their photos are terrible.
Pretty bad.
I actually wrote down some of them. Like, Yayoi's eyes are half closed. The twins are in weird costumes. Some of them are just blurry.
You know.
And they're like, we got to get better pictures if we want to get jobs. And so the rest of this episode is a photo shoot.
And in the photo shoot, you kind of get a little snippets here and there of each of the characters' personalities, just reinforcing what their characters are supposed to be. Yeah,
what their archetype is. But this episode, the story of this episode focuses mainly on a group I will call the Babies.
The Babies.
Which is all the youngest characters. So it's Yayoi, Iori, and the twins.
So poor girl, rich girl, and the twins.
And the Mischief Makers.
So
it's those four. I call them the Babies because they are canonically the youngest. They're anywhere from 12 to 14, I think. They're itty bitty.
Itty bitties.
But so their whole thing is they want to, like, surprise people. It's like, we can't just copy what all the other idols are doing. We have to have pizzazz. We gotta stand out. We gotta put on sexy outfits.
Let's get some fruit. Stuff our chests.
God. Yeah. So yeah, this is the weird thing where, like, they see Azusa, big sister character, and she's like, she's like a taller, mature lady, and so they're like, we should also be mature. Let's put on some really weird dresses and, like, stuff a bunch of stuff in our dresses so that it looks like we have, like, hips and bubbles, and put on just, like, the most ridiculous makeup ever.
But more of the story, it's better off just to not do that.
Yeah, don't dress in almost drag makeup to try and take pictures, because what happens is they come out in their new outfits and everybody there's like, yo,
when are you gonna get changed? You should go get changed now.
He's like, y'all should change into something else.
It's time to do actual work, kids.
Yeah, it's like, get out of here.
Get out of here.
But yeah, so again, this is just more of, like, a little bit more character building stuff. So you see, like, each character as they go on to take their pictures, and, like, the Babies kind of comment from the sidelines. The producer's sitting over there with them, and they kind of talk about each character as they get their pictures taken. So, like, Miki is just kind of like the natural beauty. She like takes a bunch of cute pictures, and she does a lot of poses.
She's like,
Haruka's clumsy as hell.
Oh, it works for her.
And she just kind of falls over a lot.
Sticks her tongue out.
Yeah. Makoto's like real sporty. She wears like this puffy vest, and she smiles at the camera person and his assistant, who like passes out. She swoons.
Starla also swoons.
Me too. Yes, I just Doki Doki's in my big heart.
Swoon.
Takane is just like majestic as hell. Yeah, she like strikes a ballet pose.
Looks into the sky towards the moon, wherever it is.
Yukiho is terrified of the photographer, so she just kind of hides behind a bouquet of flowers the whole time.
But it looks cute.
She's very pure. Hibiki has her hamster, and she's like doing cool poses.
Hamster.
Chihaya is like, I don't know how to smile for a camera, and the producer's like, then don't.
So she just looks serious. Like Chihaya.
She just looks serious business. And then so the twins take cute pictures. I actually don't think you ever see them taking the pictures. You just see the final product later. But Iori like poses with her little stuffed bunny. And Yayoi just wears her poor girl clothes because she's like, they have all these outfits, but this is the one I feel the most comfortable in. And they're like, sure, why not?
Why not?
Why not? Put it on. So that's episode 2.
Yay.
Is photo shoot episode. And again, it's a bold choice of this show to start off with just like a lot of filler.
I don't think it's
There's just
filler.
like,
you're learning about the characters, Star.
You are, but like I haven't really been given a whole lot of reason to care yet.
Oh, I already care. I love them.
Listen. You are very much into slice of life. I enjoy the craft of putting together a strong narrative.
I don't think
it took me a while to get into this show.
I understand. Yeah, for me, it's always been more about as soon as you find characters that you feel like you can relate to or you want to cheer on, then I like spending time with them, even when there's not a long-term goal.
Yeah, I'm very much more of a goal-oriented person, but I was thinking about it. It's like, I'm glad I asked Sarah to do this podcast with me because we have very different views on storytelling, and it makes it interesting.
Oh, yes.
Because while I'm sure you probably adored these couple episodes, when I first watched it, I was just sitting here like, when's something gonna happen?
So many things are happening. They're learning about themselves. They're growing as people.
I want to see them dance.
I just want them to become happier and more confident in themselves.
But please, dance. Give me a plot. Please. Okay, so yes, the next episode is the first of our single character focus episodes. This one is very much like kind of focused on Yukihō.
Mm-hmm.
And so like the other characters, there's a lot of these character focus episodes. Other characters are around and they are doing stuff. Mm-hmm. And we might even get like a little bit of character development off of them just by seeing how they engage with the rest of the episode. Yes. But there is a clear focus on one person. And it's like, this is their arc.
And this is kind of nice, too, because it starts breaking out the characters from the crowd, right? So, like, at this point, you start getting into individual character arcs, which is nice because it makes it so you're like, oh, this brown-haired girl is different from this brown-haired girl.
Yeah, because, like, Lord, half the cast has brown hair. Brown or black hair, and the rest of them was like... I'm looking at a poster I have on my wall of all of them, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 characters with brown hair. That's literally half the cast.
Exactly.
And then there's 2 characters with black hair, 2 characters with blue hair. There's a blonde, there's a ginger, and there's a silver-haired moon princess. Yes. It's wild.
So, breaking out the brown hair characters from each other, very helpful.
Yes, so our first brown hair character focus is Yukihō. She's the shy one who likes to dig.
Oh, yes. And she digs a lot in this episode, or at least tries to.
Yep. So the story behind this episode is that they get a job.
First gig. Yay.
First, like, major quote-unquote gig. So there's a summer festival coming up, and they're going to perform at this, like, little city in the mountains. But it's, like, way out in the wilderness. They are literally driving through the mountains to get there. And there's, like, 2 buildings.
Maybe 3.
It's like this little bitty, like, village in the mountains. And they're like, we thought this was gonna be, like, an actual thing. And they're like, it is an actual thing. Just do your best and we'll get you guys better jobs later.
But, oh no, half of the volunteers are men. What will Yukihō do?
Not just men, they're also very hunky, beefy, like...
bro men.
Beefy men, bro men. And they're, like... Ikemen types.
And they loom over Yukihō. At least...
Yeah, because she is a short baby. And she's like, oh god, males!
She's like, I just got used to being near the producer-ish.
Like, she still is hesitant around Mr. Producer. And she's just like, no, there's too much testosterone here. I gotta get out of here. So she spends most of this episode just, like, cowering in a corner.
But... episode turns around when she realizes that she's not the only one who has to be brave. For the producer volunteers to protect her from a dog in the front row.
Yeah, turns out the producer's also scared of dogs.
No, dog is tiny little dachshund.
It's like this tiny dog.
Just on the lady's lap.
Yukiho decides, like, okay, if I'm on stage, I think I'll be okay, and I won't be scared of all the dudes in the audience. She, like, peeks out behind the curtain, and she sees a dachshund in the front row. She's like, oh no, I wasn't mentally prepared for dogs!
But what would you do if you were protecting a bunch of cute girls that you just wanted to achieve their dreams, even if you were scared of dogs?
What's that?
You would go by the dog, just stand there, and, you know, if the dog tries to make any noise, you'd, like, be prepared to yeet it into the abyss.
I don't think he was prepared for that, but I can imagine it.
That's what I would do.
The producer, he's not doing shit. He's just, like, standing next to this dog, and he's like, please don't cause a scene, small creature.
Please.
But yeah, so the other thing about this episode is, there's a lot of stuff that goes wrong when they're trying to prep for this performance. One of the things is that they forget their better stage costumes, and they accidentally bring, like, all these super punk rock outfits with, like, leather jackets. Oh, yes. And they're like, we can't wear this in the countryside. It's a little too much for these boomers. But Yukiho gets this burst of courage, and she's like, you guys go on stage without me. I'll be right back. So Haruka and Makoto have to, like, stall for time, and then Yukiho comes out. She, like, drew on her face with lipstick, and she comes out in, like, these super punk outfits, and she just screams into the mic, and she's like, yay!
And the crowd goes wild.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, they liked it when I screamed. Now I can sing in front of them and I'll be fine.
And all was good. And then she realized producer was being brave for her too, so.
Yeah, so she's less skittish around producer after this. Mm-hmm. So Yukiho's arc complete.
Yay, Yukiho.
Yep, so she's still shy later, but this is like first step to getting over her nonsense.
Yes.
Okay, episode 4. I guess this is technically a Chihaya episode, but she gets more later on. Mm-hmm. So the main characters of this episode are Haruka, main character, Chihaya, serious one, Hibiki, animal lover, and Takane, the moon princess one. And they are on a cooking show.
Ooh.
It's like a cooking variety game show type thing. Mm-hmm. And so it's Chihaya and Haruka versus Hibiki and Takane.
And we say versus. They were put on there to just promote 7 Namco Pro in general.
Yeah.
They're not actually angry competing against each other.
I mean, they're competing, but it's like, let's do our best, guys. Yay! Mm-hmm. But yeah, so the whole arc is like, Chihaya doesn't really want to be here because she wants to sing. Chihaya's whole thing is that she really likes singing.
Oh, yes.
And she doesn't really enjoy the other aspects of idol-isms. And she's like, why am I on this game show? Do I get to sing later?
But then she finds out, oh no, they cut the singing portion.
Yeah, there was going to be a singing portion, and producer's like, oh yeah, they had to cut it for time, and Chihaya's like, then why am I here?
Why am I here? I can't even cook.
I can't even cook. Why am I here? I just want to sing. So she spends the first half kind of being like dour, like she kind of talks back to the host of the show who's trying to get her to play along with the gags, and she's like not having it. But then during like a commercial break, producer goes and gives her a pep talk, and then she gets like little pep talks from the rest of the group, and she's like, okay, it's not singing, but if I want to get more singing jobs, I have to do other idol stuff.
I will cook in order to be able to sing.
Yes, I will do my best at this cooking show. And so by the end, she takes it more seriously. That her team doesn't end up winning, but they do their best.
They did their very best.
They ganbarimasu, and it's okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, so actually, one thing I've neglected to mention for all of these episodes, Idolmaster has because it was a video game series long before it ever got an anime, it has an incredible backlog of just music.
So many jams.
And so like each episode they have a different ending song. Mm-hmm.
And also during the episode you often get little vignettes of like little snippets of additional music. So every episode of Idolmaster, I feel like you at least get 1 to 2 or even more new songs.
Yeah, and like if you listen closely, most of the background music, like if you just listen to the piano, it's like, oh, that's this song. Oh, that's this song. Oh, that's a piano version of this song. Mm-hmm. Like pretty much all of the music in this is music from the previous games.
And all the music is great.
All the music is great. Like, there's a song in this episode that's one of Haruka's, like, image songs. It's called Girls Be Ambitious. I'm not going to try and say the Japanese title, but it's so good.
So good.
It's such a good little jam. It's like, Otome ya, da, 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 da. And it's like, oh, it's so cute. I love this song.
Just a jam.
Mm-hmm. Good dang jam. But Sarah, it's time for the next episode. And you know what every good anime needs?
Beach episode!
Beach episode! We're getting the beach episode out of the way before the plot actually starts happening.
Plot's already been happening. Starla just doesn't believe.
Not a believer. I do not believe. Because, like, okay, when I recommend this show to people, I say it starts out really slow, but hold on until about episode 6, because that's when stuff starts, like, kicking into action.
So far, all these girls are already starting to achieve their dreams better in themselves, realizing who they are inside. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, but the plot doesn't start. There's, like, the end of episode 5, the beach episode, is where you get, like, oh, a plot that extends longer than a single episode. Great. But yeah, so there's not a lot to talk about here. It's everything you would come to expect from a beach episode with a bunch of cute girls in it.
Very cute.
There's a lot of, like, silly little gags, though. I think my favorite is that at one point, Hibiki, like, goes down in the water and she comes up and she's caught a fish with her bare hands.
Oh, yes. And
that was the most memorable part of this episode.
It's pretty amazing. I also remember the part where Miki's like, hey, give me all your food, and if you swim all the way over there, I'll hang out with you.
Oh, God, yeah. Miki's like a total con artist, and I honestly loved this scene. So her thing is, like, she's the pretty one, she's the hot one, and so when she goes out to the beach in her little bikini, she gets all these rando dudes coming up to her. It's like, hey, do you want to go on a date? You want to, like, come and eat your fried squid with me over there? And she's surrounded by, like, 5 or 6 dudes. And she's like, I have an idea. Whoever can swim to that rock the fastest and come back, I'll eat lunch with them. And then all the boys take off, and she just takes all their food and walks back to their little sitting area.
Genius.
It's like, God, Miki, like, you're kind of annoying in these first couple episodes because your whole shtick is that you're lazy, but that was gold.
10 out of 10 genius.
10 out of 10. Oh, yeah, and then the other thing about this episode is, like, they all stay in a little hotel.
Yeah.
And producer's the only dude, so he has to stay in this room by himself, and he's
lonely.
lonely. It's him and Hamzo, the hamster.
Him and Hamzo, you're
They're
right.
the only dudes on this trip, and so they're in, like, this tiny little room where all the rest of the girls are in, like, this big room, and they're all sharing, and they're having, like, girly get-together times, and producer and Hamzo are just, like, drinking.
Oh, yes. Hamzo's good company, though.
Yeah. So throughout this episode, there's little hints that something's happening.
What's happening? What's
Ritsuko? Ritsuko's getting phone calls from the agency. And we occasionally cut back to the office and we see, like, Kotori, the little assistant girl, is, like, taking phone calls. And she's talking about a project. You don't know what this project is. What's this project? And then Ritsuko gets a call and she's like, oh, Ritsuko, your project got approved. And it's like, oh, what project is this? What is this? Could this be a hint of plot? Da-da-da! And then at the end of the episode, you find out what it is. What is it, Sarah?
It's a new unit by Ritsuko. Produced by Ritsuko.
Yeah. It's a subunit with 3 of the idol girls. It is produced by Ritsuko.
And it includes Azusa,
the big sister girl.
Iori.
Iori, the rich girl.
And only one of the twins.
Dun, dun, dun. The twins are getting split, sort of. So, actually, interesting tidbit about this. Oh, their subunit group is called Ryugu Komachi. Which, from what we can gather based on the anime, I think is, like, the name of a dragon palace under the sea in, like, some Japanese folktale.
Yes, the one with the turtle.
Oh, you're familiar with this one?
Yes,
because I am not.
I grew up on Japanese fairy tales.
You know what? I should have expected that. But yeah, like, me being the white person, I am not familiar with this folktale, but it is apparently common knowledge. To the point where, like, everyone immediately associates it. It's like, oh, their group name is that? Okay, it's an undersea theme. Yeah, so, there's actually an interesting tidbit. So this is based on a lot of the stuff that happens in the anime is based on the plot of one of the video games. Specifically, the video game that I think had come out most recently around the time the anime was created. So that's Idolmaster 2 for the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, I believe. But yeah, so this actually, so those girls, those 3 girls plus Ritsuko, are actually not playable in this game. Like, you can't add them to your idol unit. They are rivals in the plot of the game. And, a lot of, I don't know if this was ever confirmed, but it's suspected by the fan base that these 3 were chosen because, Iori's voice actor is extremely popular. Rie Kugumiya, I think is her name. She's an extremely prolific voice actress. And then I think Azusa's VA is also very popular. And then using one of the twins meant that the twins both have the same voice actress. And so I guess that a lot of people think that splitting up the twins and having one be a rival character that you can't actually use in the game was so that this voice actor wouldn't have to record double.
Sneaky.
Mm-hmm. And so it was like, these characters are going to be the hardest to wrangle, and also this lets us explore Ritsuko's idol plot, or manager plot.
Yes.
And so these are now the rival characters for this game. And that way we don't have to record a million gajillion lines for them.
So Ryugu Komachi exists now, and now that means suddenly 3 of them have a lot more work.
3 of them are popular.
Uh-oh.
And then that brings us to episode 6. So episode 6 is kind of introducing the Ryugu Komachi plotline. First thing is, this is where Azusa chops her hair off.
Oh yes, she just walks in, it's all gone.
Yep, and she's like, I think it makes me look younger. And it's like, well, at the very least, it makes you look different from the other blue-haired character.
Because you're an anime girl and you all look young.
Yep, you all look kind of the same. I love Idolmaster, but it does kind of have the same face going on like most animes.
Mm-hmm.
Same face, just cute.
Just cute.
Paste. There you go. Like, if you pay really close attention, they have different eye shapes, but it's so subtle it's not even worth pointing out most of the time.
Nothing that you would notice just watching.
So you just gotta go by their hair and eye colors.
Yes, and voice.
And voice,
and
yeah.
And titties.
But yeah, so, and titties. Very important, yes. But yeah, so this episode is like, so Ryugu Komachi is suddenly, they've got a lot of stuff going on. They're getting interviewed.
They have a single.
They've got a single. They get new outfits.
They're cute outfits.
And then the first step of some future drama happens. Miki's jealous.
Hey, producer, if I work hard enough, can I be in Ryugu Komachi too?
And then producer is on the phone, not really listening to her, goes kind of like, yeah, sure, probably, whatever. Leave me alone.
And she's like,
and Miki's like,
and she runs away.
I have a reason to work hard now. So now, unbeknownst to any of the other characters, Miki's new goal is she wants to be in Ryugu Komachi.
Just because she wants to be sparkly on stage.
It's like, wait, why are they suddenly getting jobs? I want to do that too. If I work hard, I'll get into Ryugu Komachi. And so this is the first step of her, like, not being lazy anymore, is she's got a goal now.
Just a little seed
like,
planted for later.
If I work hard, I can get into this idol group. The seed has been planted. We'll come back to that.
Later.
Yes. So the rest of this episode is that the producer feels bad because Ritsuko's out getting her 3 girls all this new work.
He just wants to try
and
harder.
The rest of them, their jobs kind of suck.
So then he goes into overdrive. Not very efficiently.
Nope.
He puts very much the wrong girls in the wrong positions. Like, he gives Takane, Moon Princess, very regal, a position where she's supposed to be like a young kid in a cute frilly outfit.
She's like modeling for a Lolita brand.
Yes. Doesn't really suit
and
her
it looks
as much.
ridiculous. And there's a comment, it's like, I feel like Yayoi would be better suited for that. Where is Yayoi?
Where is Yayoi?
And she's like in a ninja show, but she's scared of heights.
Yes, doesn't really work out.
Yeah, so what ends up happening in this episode is one of the characters, I think, because of producer's overdrive, he overbooks them. And it ends up, like, they get a call from one of their clients. Is like, hey, we were supposed to get 2 girls here an hour ago. Only one of them has shown up. Where's the other one? And they're like, oh, crap.
But then it was Haruka, right?
No, it's Hibiki is the one who gets double booked,
Yes.
but Miki actually offers to
Miki.
take her place.
Mm-hmm. And then Miki does good. Miki works hard.
For the first time this whole show.
She memorizes a dance in what seems like minutes.
Yeah, Miki's kind of a superhuman.
Yes. Very good at being idle when she puts her mind to it.
It's like, if Miki wants to be good at something, she's immediately good at something.
But she has to want to.
She's like kind of a Mary Sue character, but like,
yeah, she does it.
She's doing her best.
She did good.
Mm. But yeah, so this episode ends with Ryugo Komachi. You get to watch their single on TV.
Yay, they did so
and
good.
It's actually the first like actual song and dance number of the show, if you don't count like the little practice video that was in the first episode.
And it's so pretty, the animation. Like for an
Yes,
idol,
it's so good.
They always have moving cameras. So good.
Yeah, so iDOLmaster Anime, we've talked about this. They don't use any 3D animation in the song and dance sequences, which I think puts them on a layer way higher than a lot of other idol shows that like zoom out and use either partially or fully 3D animation, because 3D animation it doesn't mesh well in anime a lot of the times.
You have to do it very carefully.
There's a lot that goes into it, and if you do it even a little bit wrong, it's going to look super awkward.
Yes.
And we'll talk about some of those other shows
yes.
on other episodes. That's going to be a hot topic, because like we said, we are both animators, and so this is important to us.
I am actively a 3D animator, and
I
can spot 3D very easily.
I feel like a layman could probably spot 3D
yes.
very easily, because it just kind of looks off a lot of the times. But the nice thing about iDOLmaster is they don't do that.
No, very well done.
It's all 2D animated.
Lots of work.
Why did I say it like that?
2D animated.
Yeah, a lot of work, but the end product, it just looks really nice. And there's not a lot of song and dance numbers in this show, but that's because that's where all of their budget goes. They go hard on these song and dance numbers, so there's only a handful of them in the entire show, and this is like the first major one that we get. But what do you think about the song? I think it's pretty cute.
I think it's really cute.
Yeah, their outfits are really nice. I like the colors.
Yes.
They're like kind of like teal blue and purple,
Yes,
and each character has a slightly different one.
Which is what I love, is I love that not everybody has exactly matching silhouettes and outfits. Everybody just kind of, they look like they're in the same group, but they all have designs that are unique to their personalities.
Yeah, like Iori has a little beret, and Azusa has a tiny top hat. And Ami's got like little puffy shorts. It's very cute.
Very cute.
The one thing about these outfits is these outfits are also in the games. And they've got like big chunky beaded necklaces and like accent beads on parts of the outfits. And in the game, those are rainbow. In the anime, because rainbow would be super hard to animate. Too much budget. They just made them solid purple. And it looks okay. But they just pop so much more in the games. And I'm like, I get it, but man.
Please.
He's like, aw. So go if you like these outfits, go look at the ones from the
them.
game, because they're real pretty.
What's next episode?
So next episode is it's the Yayoi episode.
And a little bit of Iori, just by contrast.
Yeah, so it's I consider this another babies episode, but you swap out the twins, and now animal lover Hibiki is also there.
The beaks.
Yes.
So you kind of, doesn't it start out with like a shot of Iori's house, an interview?
Yeah, so it starts, and Iori's family is very famous, and she's very rich. The Minase group, her last name is Minase, and so her family are like big shot businessmen and stuff. So her whole reason for being an idol is that she wants to have something she can stand out from her family with. So she's like, I'm not just the daughter of this important business person. I'm an idol, and I want to be recognized as an idol. That's her whole thing.
And so she gets she breaks into an interview that they were actually having about her parents' group, and she's like, "Oh, hey, I'm an idol. You should talk about me instead of my family."
And she like drags the interviewer off, and he's like, "Oh, we're live. We can't do this right now."
Yayoi is watching the TV, and she's all like, "Oh, isn't this supposed to be about Iori's house? When are they going to get away from this giant museum they're in front of?"
And then Hibiki's like, "That is her house."
And Yayoi's like,
and Yayoi's comment is, "Wow, that must be hard to clean."
Yep.
It's like real talk, though.
Yes, it must be.
One of the big reasons I don't want to mansion.
Well, I mean, I think Iori also has butlers.
Well, sure, but also it's like, The house is too big.
Too big.
But yeah, so this is a Yayoi focus episode. She, through a chain of events, ends up inviting Iori Rich Girl and Hibiki Animal Lover over to her house to make dinner and hang out with her family.
Yes, her large family in her small house and her dinner of mostly bean sprouts.
Yes, but no, okay. The Bean Sprout Fest is one of those weird scenes that, like, stuck with me. Because so for those who don't know, who are listening to this, I lived in Japan for 2 years and moved back very recently. And so whenever I would go to ramen we had this one ramen shop down the street that my friend and I would always go to. And they put so many bean sprouts in their ramen. And I'm like, it's just like that one episode of Idolmaster.
Just like that one episode.
Just like that one episode. But yeah, so Yayoi's thing is because there's so many kids in her family's very poor. Mm-hmm. And so she ends up making dinner that's just like a big griddle covered in bean sprouts.
Yes.
And you have like the special sauce. And the other girls are like, I don't know about this.
And Iori gets a little taste of humble.
Mm-hmm. Iori doesn't know how to go grocery shopping.
No.
It is revealed. They go to a grocery store and Yayoi's like, Iori, these are bad potatoes. Go get better potatoes.
Iori's like, I've never been here before.
I've never been to a supermarket before. And Yayoi schools her on like how to get better vegetables. Mm-hmm. And Iori's like kind of taken aback. She's like, oh, there's this whole side to poor people that I never realized.
Is this what instant coffee is?
Oh god, we've already talked about Oron once, Sarah. We can't keep doing this. Oron's not an idol show. But yes, so at some point in the dinner, 2 of the siblings get in a fight. Mm-hmm. And one of the older sibling, he's like the oldest sibling besides Yayoi, so he's like the second oldest. Yayoi's like, you should apologize, and he's like, I don't want to, and he runs off. And so the rest of the episode is spent, they're kind of like looking around for him. This is, I guess, before children were given cell phones.
Yes.
Because they're running around and they're like, oh my god, where is the baby? Where has he gone? Where'd he go? And earlier in the episode, there was a conversation with Iori and the producer's like, I want you to be able to rely on me more. And Iori's like, well, you gotta prove you're worth it. And so she actually ends up calling him when the younger brother goes missing.
Yes.
He doesn't do much. He's there, he helps, but they're not the ones who end up finding him.
But he showed up. That's what's important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so after this episode, Iori's like, I trust you more.
Yes.
But yeah, so they do find the younger brother. Iori finds him. He's like in the shed of their house.
And everyone becomes happy again. They all make up.
Yeah. They have like younger sibling bonding time.
Yes.
And then everything is okay again.
Everything's okay. And there are definitely little heartstrings pulled with Yayoi's family. And
yeah,
Iori.
they're cute. And it's like, oh, look at this little family. It's sweet.
Yes. Very cute.
Yeah. So, next episode.
Best episode in the series.
Best episode in the whole show. Because, like, listen,
amazing.
The concert episodes are great. The drama episodes later on, there's some episodes that make me cry. This is the best episode.
This is the best episode.
Episode 8 of Idolmaster is the best episode of Idolmaster.
This episode is just Azusa accidentallys.
It's Azusa accidentally fills in the blank. Like, you could put anything there. It probably happens in this episode. Yes. Would you like to start us off, Sarah?
Well, Azusa is kind of living her dream. She's in a photo shoot and she's in a wedding dress. Mm-hmm. There's no husband yet.
She really wants to get married.
I know, she really does. No husband.
She really wants to get married.
But she's there. She really does. She's in a chapel. She has this big giant wedding dress on. Basically the dream.
Yes. She's there for a photo shoot. Makoto and Miki are also there. Makoto's mad because she wants to wear a suit, or she wants to wear a dress, but she's stuck in a suit.
Well, it looks good on her.
It's like, oh, it does look very good on her. She's good bean.
So Azusa gets a phone call talking about how much she wants to get married. And she
wanders outside.
Bumps into a runaway bride.
Oh, yes, a runaway bride who bumps into her and drops something.
What is it? Oh,
I don't think we find out yet exactly what it is.
Yes.
But yeah, so this runaway bride runs into Azusa, who is also wearing a wedding dress. And then shortly after this, a bunch of, like, men in black with, like, sunglasses and suits, like, corner Azusa. And is like, okay, you can stop running now. We've caught you. And Azusa's like, huh? And the dudes are like, we're going to take you back to our master and then you're going to marry him. And she's like, okay, I don't think I should. But they kind of force her into the car anyway.
And then halfway through, she's just like, do you have a picture of the lady you're supposed to be taking in the car? And then
And here's the thing. The runaway bride and Azusa look nothing alike. Azusa has like short blue hair, and this new runaway bride character has like long red hair and a ponytail.
But they're both wearing wedding dresses.
They're both wearing wedding dresses, so that means they're the same person. It's redonkulous, because this happens multiple times throughout the episode. And so Azusa gets dragged off by these dudes. And Makoto walks outside just in time to see Azusa get dragged off by these dudes. And also important, Azusa dropped her phone when they dragged her off.
Can't call her.
So she can't contact the rest of the idols.
And remember,
so Makoto runs.
Azusa gets lost very easily.
Oh, yes. So Makoto runs back inside and she's like, producer, Azusa just got kidnapped. And they're like, oh, God. So they start chasing after them. Then we cut to a scene inside the car. And Azusa's like, I think you have the wrong person. And they're like, oh, Jesus. And so they just let her out of the car. Where they are. They don't bother driving her back to where they picked her up. They just let her out in the middle of the city. And she's like, I don't know where I am now.
And she's like, I'll figure it out.
Phone. I guess I'll figure it out. And she just wanders off.
Yep. She just keeps walking.
Mm-hmm. This is a very involved episode. Oh my gosh. This is like the longest outline of any of the episodes. I can't even because so much happens.
There's just so many, and every single twist and turn is just a coincidence where like they set up the joke and then the punchline is rewarded like a few minutes later. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's so full of shenanigans. But basically what happens is the runaway bride ends up so important. That box that the runaway bride dropped was the ring. Mm-hmm. And Azusa ends up accidentally keeping the ring when they let her out of the car. And then they find the runaway bride, and she's like, I don't have the ring. And they're like, oh, shit, that other girl must have it. Now we gotta go find that other girl. And so everyone's chasing after Azusa. Makoto and the producer are chasing after the guys who kidnapped Azusa. Miki's just vibing.
Yeah, she's just keeping the photographers happy. Just being like, hey, we need to take more pictures. And why don't we go down to the river and take pictures?
Yeah, so anyway, Azusa's train of events is that she wanders around, she helps a little old lady cross the street, and then, like, wanders around the city with this little old lady for a while. Then immediately after she dumps the little old lady, she finds these two lost kids. She takes the kids out for dumplings, and then finds their mom, and then wanders off, and she's trying to get the ring back to the other runaway bride, but she's like, I can't find a taxi stand anywhere. But then she, like, accidentally takes over this dude's fortune-telling stand for a little bit.
Yeah, just a fortune teller.
And while she's just your random fortune teller who's like, I gotta go take my pain meds. Can you watch my booth for like 5 minutes? And while she's running the fortune teller stand, the husband of the runaway bride shows up to get his fortune told.
And she does the little stick fortune telling. And it drops.
And
mm-hmm. And she's just like, go there. Go in that direction.
He's like, go in that direction. He's like, okay. And so then Azusa tries to get in line to take a taxi, ends up in line for a Ferris wheel. Then she's on a Ferris wheel, and she sees the runaway bride, and she's trying to call out to them, but she's on a Ferris wheel, so they can't hear her. And she gets off the Ferris wheel, and she's trying to run, but meanwhile, Makoto and the producer are chasing after the goons who took Azusa.
And this is like action movie.
This is like literal action movie. You can actually find the first of these fight scenes on YouTube if you just look up Idolmaster Makoto, and it's like everybody who witnesses this
Star,
thinks they're filming for a movie.
How often do you search Idolmaster Makoto on YouTube?
A couple years ago, it was like every day. I need you to not judge me. I was trying to find videos. Uh-huh. There was a point in my life where I would just watch like the song and dance videos from the games because the outfits were really cute.
But now you have them in your bookmark, so you don't have to search anymore.
Shut up. But yeah, so there's like a bunch of like action movie scenes. And remember, Makoto is in a suit during all of this, so it looks rad as hell. She ends up in like a fight in a porcelain shop. And they're just, like, throwing pots everywhere, and producers, like, I don't know if we can afford to pay for this.
Uh-oh. How will we pay for it?
And so the finale of this episode is Azusa's chasing the runaway bride. Everybody else in the entire city is chasing Azusa.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's, like, a dude who saw her in the park and painted a picture. There's a bunch of, like, angry pottery sellers who were like, how are we supposed to pay for this stuff that all your friends broke? And so she's running, and she's got a ring. At one point, she, like, runs through a bouquet of roses
Flowers
that just,
everywhere.
like, happens to be wheeled by this dude. And so she's covered in rose petals. She's running down the staircase. You see Makoto and the producer behind her, and then, like, the population of the entire city
And meanwhile,
is chasing after her.
at the base of the stairs is Miki and the photographers doing their Riverside photo shoot. And Miki's like, hey, take a picture of that.
And you just see, like, this literal herd of people chasing them. And
people.
Azusa's, like, got the ring, and she's running. And the photographer's like, click, 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 click.
On it.
Yeah, and so the ending of this episode is Azusa's finally able to get that ring back to the person. The runaway bride was in an arranged marriage, and she had never met the dude she was supposed to marry.
And then she sees him. Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh no, he's hot.
She sees him, he's she falls in love immediately. Is like, maybe this won't be so bad.
Also, he's rich.
He's like an oil baron, apparently. Yes. And he doesn't have a name. They just call him Oil Baron or Master the entire episode. It's like, my name is Oil Baron. I'm like, it's not. But that's okay.
But because they all reunited him with his bride, he pays for the broken pot, so that's good.
Yeah, so that's like a budgetary problem we don't have to take care of. But my god, this episode is just the perfect spiderweb of silly
it's so
shenanigans.
Good. You can even watch it out of context. You can watch this show and not know a lot about the characters and still enjoy it.
Honestly, yeah. If this is the only episode of Idolmaster you watch, make it this one.
It's so good.
It's the best
episode of Idolmaster.
Best episode. Next episode is more shenanigans. It's the twins and their murder mystery.
Oh yes, it starts with the murder.
So the Ryugu Komachi girls
killed someone.
Filming. They murdered.
They murdered someone.
So Idolmaster does this a lot, where it brings you in media res, in like a completely different genre, and then you find out later it's like, oh, it's a drama that they were filming, or oh, it's a trailer for a movie that they're making,
or oh, it's just part of the police investigation because they murdered someone.
They didn't murder anyone
that you know of.
They murdered someone in the show because he was a murderer, and they were like, oops, we murdered him, we have to leave the country, end scene. But yeah, so they finish filming this drama, they go back to the office, and Yodi's like, I got us all snacks, I got us all puddings, and I will share them when we get back to the office. But they get back to the office, and the pudding is gone!
Who killed the pudding?
Who ate the pudding?
Well, time for the twins to investigate.
Yeah, so this whole the rest of this episode is the twins running around interrogating everyone like junior detectives trying to figure out who ate the pudding.
Though my favorite part is actually the end of the episode when you figure out who did eat the pudding.
Spoilers. The person who ate the pudding was Miki.
Well,
but she only ate it because her snack was already eaten. And the twins ate her snack.
But the true person who ate the rest of the puddings, because Iori actually bought enough for everyone, Miki only ate one, was Azusa. And you get a scene where she's just like, oh, I just started my diet. She opens the fridge, and then it's like a cut to her like holding a shaking like empty spoon and being like, oh no. And a bunch of empty puddings in the trash, and her looking forlorn in like a dark room being like, oh no, I did this thing. Very relatable. Yep. I love it.
Azusa's thing is like, it's not a major part of her character, but occasionally you'll get these little scenes with her. It's like, I want this snack. No, I shouldn't. I'm on a diet. I'll just eat one.
And then a whole thing of puddings
and then
later.
She eats a whole thing of puddings. So next episode. Sports. Yeah, so if this was a school show, this would be the sports festival episode.
This episode kind of is the most important episode for their careers.
Yeah, it kind of is, actually.
This is like the turning point for them becoming very famous.
Mm-hmm. It's this and then the concert episode later, but I would argue that this is like kind of that first half step that gets them into the public view and then opens up stuff for them later.
So, just so you know, if you want to be an idol, you have to be good at sports.
Yeah,
sports.
it's an important part.
So this episode, you also kind of get the first glimpse of some rival idol agencies.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh, Sarah, I forgot to mention, like, way back in the second episode is the first time we meet one of the rivals. Jupiter. And then, so what happens is, like, there's this one tiny little scene where Haruka's in a hallway, like at a photo shoot or something, and she bumps into this brown-haired boy. Who's this brown-haired boy? He's an asshole. And he just kind of, like, walks past her. He's like, watch where you're going. And she's like, wow, he was a douchebag. Okay. And then cut back to this episode.
Whoa, it's that brown boy.
He is actually... it's that asshole brown-haired boy. He's in a boy idol group called Jupiter. And they are extremely popular.
They're so cool. Wow, Jupiter.
Yeah, so Jupiter's a trio. Asshole brown-hair boy. His name is Toma, but I'm just going to call him asshole brown-hair boy for a while.
You like him more after you watch Sidem.
Yeah, I do like him, mostly because of what happens in this show, but we haven't gotten there yet.
That's true. At this point, he's an asshole.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so Jupiter is a trio. It's asshole brown-hair boy Toma. There's a short little green-haired boy. I think his name is Shota. Mm-hmm. And then there's a blonde boy who speaks in French a lot, and I forgot what his name was.
I don't remember either.
He, honest to God, does not... I think it's like Hokuto or something. It starts with an H. Mm-hmm. But he gets like 4 lines throughout the entire series.
Unfortunate, because Jupiter is great.
They're pretty great. I enjoy them when they're on screen. Mm-hmm. But they spend most of the show, they are the asshole rival group. So, you know, they're the enemies.
And they're also first. The boys.
The boys.
You don't get a lot of male characters in the show.
Yeah, no. It's like producer and the company president and then Jupiter.
Yes. And the
Jupiter is like the main boys.
Yes. The boys.
But yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that happens in this episode. The caveat is that whoever wins this sport fest will get a lot of recognition from the media.
Yes.
And so everybody's competing to see who will be the top idol at the sports fest.
Who will be top idol at the sports fest?
Wah-pa-pa. A mystery.
A mystery. But our girls do not that great in their interviews, but their clumsiness is actually their charm.
Yeah, they charm their way through it, and then they end up winning the relay because Makoto runs very fast.
Makoto run fast. And also, there's like a little bit of drama between, Makoto and Iori? They get in an argument.
Yeah, because they fight a lot throughout just the entire show. Mm-hmm. But they keep getting paired up for events, and so they fight a lot in this episode, and Makoto ends up getting a sprained ankle because of a botched race with Iori. Mm-hmm. And so she's got to push through to win the race, and she screams really, really loud, and that lets her win.
By just a smidgen. Just a smidge.
Just the itty-bitty bit.
But she did it.
But they win. And then they get a lot of publicity, and it's great.
Yay.
Sports. Oh, but there's one other very important thing that happens in this episode. It's not actually important, but it's important to me. Mm-hmm. So I mentioned a while ago that Idolmaster has a lot of spin-offs.
Yes.
And one of the spin-offs was a DS game called Dearly Stars.
Oh.
That focused around a trio of 3 completely random characters who were really only in this game, and the production company that makes the Idolmaster franchise has just kind of forgotten they exist, and I hate them for it.
Oh, no.
Because these babies are so good. They show up at one point. They're from a different agency, but they like pop up at one point around the middle of the episode, and they're like, "Hi, we're also here. This is our cameo. We're in this one episode."
Who they are.
Yeah, they're sweet babies. So there's 3 of them.
Good job.
And they're the main characters for the DS game, and they hardly ever show up after this. They're like the Lost spin-off. But they're precious angel babies, and I love them.
And they're all like, we knew they would win. We're so happy for Namco Pro.
They're precious angel babies. Stop forgetting they exist, anime companies!
Come on.
Dang it. They're so good. I won't go into them too much because they're really only in this scene. But they're good beans.
Good beans.
And I wish that they got a little bit more screen time because they're real cute.
I'm glad they showed up, though.
Yeah. Episode 11.
Everyone is so good.
They're all good beans.
They're working so hard.
They're doing their best.
So they find out that they're going to have a performance.
Wow, they get a real concert.
A real concert.
Oh my god. So their concert, they get the concert because Ryugo Komachi's doing so well. So this is going to be mostly Ryugo Komachi's concert. Mm-hmm. But the other girls get to be there too.
Oh, yes, because
they're going to be like the opening act. They're going to be the filler for this show,
yes,
basically.
And it's like a show for Namco Pro.
Yeah, so it's like it's the Namco Pro All-Stars like concert.
So no other agencies.
Mostly Ryugo Komachi. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's just them for this show. And so this is the first of 3 episodes that kind of center around this concert.
So they all start practicing usually without Ryugo Komachi at first, so everyone else. And they're trying really hard, but some of them are falling behind and struggling.
Mm-hmm. Mostly Yayoi and Yukiko.
Yes. Yayoi and Yukiko have a lot of trouble with the dancing, and I think Haruka has some trouble with singing, if I remember right.
Yeah, she's like very flat in a couple her songs, and she gets yelled at a lot during the voice practice.
But in the end, they get inspired by their fellow idol subunit, and after watching them rehearse, they're like, we can do this too.
Mm-hmm. Good beans.
Yeah, good beans. And then everyone teaches each other based on their strengths. So they're all like, oh, I'm good at dancing. I'll help you individually dance. Or you're good at singing. Can you help me sing? It's pure. It's good.
It's very good.
It's so good.
But yeah, so basically this is just a let's practice for the concert episode and like kind of seeing what character strengths and weaknesses are. But the end of this episode, remember when Ryugo Komachi was first introduced and Miki was like, I want to be in Ryugo Komachi. Well, now that Chekhov's gun comes back and fires in everyone's face. Because at the very end of the episode, Miki's like, hey, Ritsuko, you saw me doing a really good job, right? I've been doing a really good job. Do you think I can join Ryugo Komachi now?
And she's
and
like...
Ritsuko's like, what?
Ooh, what?
It's like, when did I tell you could join my idol group?
Yeah.
And Miki does not take it well.
Nope. She decides that she's done.
She's done being an idol, and we move to episode 12. Which is kind of a Miki-focus episode.
I like Miki, but this is like my least favorite trope, is the general misunderstanding trope that causes a whole lot of problems.
Yeah, it's not great.
Not great.
But yeah, so Miki's whole thing is she was under the illusion, based on a misunderstanding, that she would be able to join the idol group if she worked really hard. And now that she finds out she can't, she's like, well, what the hell was all that work for then? I'm just gonna stop being an idol.
What's the point?
And so she just ditches work.
Yep. But producer gets her back.
Yeah, he like hunts her down and apologizes and like is able to gradually convince her to come back.
And especially after a talk with, what was it, Ritsuko, like, Miki knows she's wrong, but she's also 14 years old and she feels this way.
Yeah, that was a conversation with Kotori, actually, the office assistant. She's like, she's a baby. She knows she's wrong, but she's also very emotional because she's a baby.
I can't. See, so here's the thing. I would love to produce a bunch of cute anime girls. I would hate to produce a bunch of teenagers.
Oh my god,
imagine, right? Oh.
It's like, y'all have too much drama. Get your stuff
drama.
Together. So then one other thing in this episode. So I don't know if the concert hall that they go to in this episode where their concert's going to be is based off anywhere in particular, but it looks a lot like Zepp Tokyo, which is one of the concert halls, and I went to go see Panic at the Disco there. And I have good memories associated with it. It's like 3 layers with like a big floor space, and I'm like, aw.
I hope that Miki headlines for Panic at the Disco one day. That would be great.
Oh my god, can you imagine?
Can you imagine?
I want to see her dress up goth.
Oh, it sounds so good.
Did you hear the motorcycle just go by?
Yes, I did.
That's going to show up on the audio.
Probably.
Oh well.
Heckin' motorcycle.
But yeah, so producer follows Miki around, kind of gives her a pep talk, and the thing that he says that eventually gets her to come back is like, I bet that if you go to this concert and you do really, really well, people will pay more attention to you than they do to Ryugo Komachi, and you'll shine even brighter than they are. And she's like, promise?
You better be right.
Like, probably.
If you lie to me again, I'll never do this ever anymore.
He was like, you betrayed me once. But yeah, so he's able to get her to come back.
And then after this, Miki calls producer honey.
No, that's until later. After the concert.
Oh, okay, later.
That's later. That's like season 2.
Oh, that's right.
But oh dang, now that Miki's back, it's time for the concert episode. So it's their first major concert.
They're going on stage.
They're gonna do it.
Those girls, they're gonna be on the stage for the first time.
But problem, everything goes wrong.
Everything goes wrong.
This is like Murphy's Law, the musical.
Everything happens that could happen.
So the first thing that happens is that Ryugo Komachi has a job in the morning before the concert.
But then...
And they...
Typhoon!
Yeah, they get stuck in a typhoon.
Uh-oh.
And they're like, it's raining really hard and all the trains stopped.
Someone should have checked the weather.
Yeah. And so the folks back at the concert are like, okay, just keep us updated. Let us know how things are progressing with y'all. And they end up getting stuck in this typhoon really hard.
Really bad. Ritsuko starts driving, but then there's a ton of traffic.
They get a flat tire at one point, they say. They don't show it, but they say, we got a flat tire, so we had to get a different rental car.
So the headliner isn't there. And there's all of these fans who are just waiting to see everyone but the girls who are there. The 10 girls there.
Yep.
9. So
the 10 girls who are there are like, we gotta stall. Actually, I think it's 9.
Yeah, I was going to say 9. Because Ritsuko. Yep.
Yeah, let's do math. But yeah, so there's 9 of them. They are not the headliner. They're the opening act, basically, and they gotta stall for time.
Yep.
So you see them backstage. Is like, what if we put this song? We have to make an immediate set list.
One of us can do a cover of this other song that Ryugo Komachi does.
Yeah, is like, who can sing this song? He's like, I can't. And it's like, no, you can't, because then you'll be doing too many songs in a row and you'll die.
And Hibiki's like, I don't care. I'll do too many songs in a row and I will die.
Well, Miki's the one who ends up, that's kind of the dramatic turning point of this episode, is, it's too late to change the songs, but Miki's got 2 really intense songs back to back somehow. And they're like, we're just gonna have to cut one of these songs and move on. And Miki's like, no, I want to do it. And they're like, Miki, you're the only one who's had vocal practice on any of these songs. You can't do this because that much song and dance, you're gonna you're gonna run out of air.
You'll die, Miki, no!
You'll die, Miki. And she's like, that's just a risk I'll have to take. The show must go on.
The show must go on.
Yep. And then this is actually the second major song and dance number. So Miki gets a song called Heart of the Marionette, which is actually an extremely good song.
Oh, yes.
It's like it's very dramatic. So it's Miki and then Makoto, Sporty Girl, and Hibiki, Animal Lover, back her up because they're the 2 strongest
Marionette
dancers.
is one of the shortest songs in theater days, so I've played it a lot.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Theater Days is one of the Idolmaster mobile games.
This is one that I've repeated many times.
It's an extremely good song.
Peppy.
It's like it's not peppy. It's extremely dramatic, but it's like
the beat is good.
It's a hard it's a hardcore bop. Like it's rad. But yeah, so Miki does her 2 very difficult songs, but the MC between these 2 songs is Miki's on stage, and she's like, I bet you guys have noticed that Ryugo Komachi's not here. Well, the truth is they got stuck in a typhoon and they're not here yet. And the audience is like, yo, what the
Give
fuck?
Me a refund.
But Miki's like, it's okay, because we're gonna work super hard to stall. And so just pay attention to us, okay? And she winks, and there's like a sound effect, and then you see the audience kind of turn over to her side, and there's like, oh, who's this blonde chick?
Oh, she's winking at me. She's winking.
He's like, she's like, oh, she used the anime wink powers. We're suddenly all infatuated with her.
I love her. I'm going to buy all her merchandise now.
Whoa.
Show me to the handshake line.
Oh, God. But yeah, so after that, Miki does her song, and then after that, she has like this cute little scene with Haruka. But then after that, it's time for the big song and dance number. And oh god. So the song is called Jibun Restart, which is like restart myself in Japanese, I think.
And they do.
And it is my favorite song in the series.
And they do so good.
They do so good.
I'm so proud.
Like they bring everybody out on stage except the girls who are not here yet. And it's like this big dramatic song and dance number. This is the first instance of like a huge moving camera pan over all the characters, animated entirely in 2D. It's chef kiss.
Beautiful.
Yes. It's amazing.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also, just to note, like, all of the Idol Master dances are also, like, professionally coordinated dances. Like, a lot of them are in the game.
Yeah.
So they're really cool dances.
Yeah, so I actually learned the dance to this song by, like, copying the animations from the video games. You can find, like, mirrored versions of them on YouTube.
And then you can...
And, like, all of the dances, they're not, like, especially, like, difficult dances, but they're all, like, visually fun to watch. But yeah, so after they finish the song and dance, they look over in the corner and they say, Ryugo Komachi, they made it! Yay! They're here, I can see them in the wings, yay!
And so the guy in the back, you know, just imagining this didn't happen, but he's probably like, oh, but I was gonna buy all the Mickey merch. Where's my Mickey merch?
Where's my Mickey merch? There's like nothing. But yeah, so then the concert ends, and it's a big success, and the audience is happy, and the girls are all emotional, and it's really, really cute.
And this would have happened if they weren't good at sports.
Sports wins the day!
Sports wins the day!
We did sports, and it was great.
I'm so proud of them.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
And that's the end of the first season.
First season!
Yay! So I think what we're gonna do is, because Idolmaster is a 25-episode show, and this is we're recording it, it's over an hour. Oh, yeah. So we are going to split in half. We have covered the first half of Idolmaster. Oh no, I split Sarah in half!
I'll be fine.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
You'll recover.
Probably.
Just stitch you back together. It's fine. I've got some super glue around here somewhere.
I'll be fine.
Stop driving by my window noisily. Ugh. Anyway. But yeah, so we will be back with episode 2 whenever episode 2 goes up. We haven't really decided on a schedule yet. But wherever we're uploading, keep your eyes on this page.
Look here.
And we'll be back with Idolmaster Part 2 next time.
We'll figure out what happens to these girls. Will they keep doing sports? Will they keep singing songs and dances?
There's no
Will
more
Mikoto
sports.
ever wear a dress?
Yes!
Spoilers!
No, I mean, maybe.
Find out next time.
On Idolmaster Z.
We don't have a sign-off.
We don't have a sign-off. We've been Lady.
This is Sarah.
And I'm Star.
And we're Lady.
So we should explain that joke. The opening for the first season is a song called Ready.
Are you ready?
And the lyrics are kind of botched English at first. And so it's like, I'm ready, I'm a lady.
Depending on which translation you're looking at, some of them say, are you ready, I'm ready. But some of them definitely say, are you ready, I'm a lady.
And I'm pretty sure that I'm a lady is the intended pronunciation. So, we're all lady.
We're all lady.
We're all lady.
We're a lady.
And so, the end of our Idolmaster episode, we've been lady.
We've been lady.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Next time. Bye.
Bye.